Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We are Staria and Angel. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Basically, we're just here documenting our life, good and bad, and we're just putting it out into the world for people to see, be inspired, learn lessons, be entertained. That's really what this channel is all about. Today, I'm actually going to be talking about anxiety, but more specifically, how I handle my anxiety while doing one of the things I love so much, which is travel. As you guys probably know, or you can tell by our social media and by this channel, our life revolves around traveling. Literally, it's like part of our jobs. So we're constantly on the road, going to new places and experiencing new things. And with this, I actually really do struggle with anxiety, and I want to be open with you guys because I don't think a lot of people know this about me. I think only people who are like super close to me know this, or people that have just known me for a really long time. But I'm one of those people that, and I've always been like this, I hate showing like my weaknesses, even though like we're all human, we all have weaknesses, we all have things that get us down or are just really hard for us. And this is one of mine. I have anxiety. So I'm going to be specifically talking about two triggers for my anxiety today, because those two things go hand in hand with traveling, and everywhere we go, this is something that I have to face. I want to make a little disclaimer right now that I understand that everybody's level of anxiety is different. Some people have severe anxiety, some people have very mild anxiety, and some people have it right there in the middle. I would say that I'm somewhere in the middle, closer to mild. When I do get anxiety attacks, it's pretty bad, but I don't get actual full-blown anxiety attacks all the time. It's more of just like a constant anxious feeling that I get. That's pretty hard to go away, I guess. So I do just want to make that disclaimer that I understand that, and I am not here to like give you tips or advice. I am just simply telling my story. I'm explaining my situation to you, and if it becomes helpful to you, that's awesome. But if it's not something that's helpful, if it doesn't relate to your level of anxiety or just doesn't relate to you personally and you don't think it would be helpful, then that's fine too. I'm just here to explain my story so that maybe it can help somebody, or maybe it can inspire someone to find ways to manage your anxiety better. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to talk about is so embarrassing. It's weather. So I've kind of talked a little bit about this on our joint Instagram account, which, by the way, if you are not following us, it's right here on the screen for you to go follow us. And yeah, you can basically, you'll see more than just what you see on YouTube on our Instagram as well. So, there you go. And it's always linked down below. Anyway. I've talked briefly about how I'm afraid of storms. And I know that this sounds so silly because a lot of people I talk to love storms. They love them. They love looking at lightning, and they love seeing like the wind and the rain and all of it combined. And I'm just not the same. I hate it. It gives me so much anxiety, so much. It's ridiculous. And I think a lot of this stems from growing up watching some of my siblings be afraid of storms. So I think maybe it was like a learned thing, but it's just never gone away. I've never been able to train my brain that storms are not actually that scary. It's just kind of something that happens, and they come and go. And sometimes storms can be very destructive and scary, but most of the time, like, your everyday storm is not that big of a deal. So I mean, definitely not something to be freaking out about. So this summer, my anxiety has been even worse because we've been in states where tornadoes can happen. And let me just say, I'm terrified of the idea of witnessing a tornado. I never want to. No part of me wants to. So every time it starts to get windy outside and really rainy and the lightning is just so intense, I start to freak out, not only because I'm afraid of that naturally, just all the time, but also in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, this is the day a tornado is going to come, and what am I going to do? I have no idea because I've never witnessed a tornado before. So my mind instantly goes to what if, what if, what if, what if. And every time I try to calm myself down, I'm like, no, I need to prepare myself if this actually happens. And I get so anxious and so worked up, and I can't like I'm a mess. The first time Angel saw me freak out and get a full-blown anxiety attack, because we were actually driving to our first destination and the tornado siren went off. And I freaked out. Like literally, right when the siren was done blaring, I was like, okay, I'm not okay. And I just started freaking out, and he was looking at me like, what is happening right now? Because most people don't understand this fear, and they don't understand how it can make me feel anxious, even slightly. So I'm going to say this now, and if Angel was with me, he would agree. He did not handle it very well. But he now knows little things that help me to feel a little bit better, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. So yes, I do freak out whenever there's a storm rolling in, whenever the clouds get super dark. I feel it all bubbling up, and eventually it just kind of erupts. But Angela has learned little things that help me to feel a little bit better. Basically, the biggest thing is that anybody that's with me during a storm, I need them to not look at me like I'm crazy, because that's when my anxiety gets worse. And the what if statements in my head get worse and more like dramatic and crazy. So all I've asked of him is to just not look at me like I'm crazy, and to just be there and to try to understand. Like, he doesn't need to understand this fear, and I don't think he ever will, but as long as he just tries to kind of understand what I'm feeling and just lets me know that he's there for me, whatever I need, it helps me so much, because then I feel safer in the environment that I'm in. So just that alone helps so much. But if I'm alone during a storm, I have, well, minus Angel, because usually when he's not here, it's because he's at work. So the two people that I call if I'm alone is my sister and my mom. And that's because they've been around my entire life. So they know what freaks me out, and they know what my triggers are, and they know what makes things worse. And they know what to say to me to distract me and to help me to know that everything's going to be okay. It's funny because they do such a good job. It's amazing. Like, I didn't even realize this until I was like prepping for this video, and I was like, holy moly, like, they really are so good at it. Literally during any storm, I can call them, and like, even if I'm so like full-blown freaking out, they know how to calm me down. It's so amazing having like go-to people to call, because honestly, they know when I freak out, I freak out. So they will drop what they're doing if they can to like answer the phone and talk to me. And it helps a lot to have go-to people. I wouldn't say that I really have much else that helps me. I am actually going to try a new technique that somebody suggested, somebody that I just met here in this area. They suggested that I should go on YouTube and just watch videos of lightning and storms. And they were saying that there's some videos that like have peaceful music with it. And I'm like, okay, that actually sounds like a really good idea. So I'm going to start doing that just so that I can start to associate storms with not such a negative thing. Like, I think storms will always be kind of scary to me, but if I can at least like change my mindset just a little bit, I think it'll help so much. Okay, enough about storms. So the next thing is something that I didn't even realize was a problem until this summer, and it's because this is the first time that I've actually like road tripped and had to like drive by myself to new cities, specifically away from the West Coast, because I feel like all the states on like the west side kind of drive the same. Like, we just kind of have like the same roads and whatnot, so I'm just like familiar with that. But moving away from that, I've had to like drive on my own. You know, it's not like, because usually when you do a road trip, I feel like usually, you know, you share a car with somebody, but you know, we have two separate cars, so I'm constantly driving on my own, and I'm finding that I have major road anxiety. When I go to new places and new types of drivers around me, not knowing if they're like patient drivers or if they're mean, if there's like a lot of road rage in the area, and also just like being confused by new cities and like how they like structure their road system, specifically the city that we're in right now, so stressful to drive in. I hate it so much. Seriously, every time I have a video shoot or I have to like go to the grocery store or something, I like get so tense. I'm like, okay, today I have to go out and I have to face the roads. But really, this is kind of a newer thing for me, so I'm still trying to figure out how to handle it. So I used to be somebody that listened to music all the time. Like I could not get in the car without like blasting music. But I found that when I'm in a new area and I'm starting to feel anxious, I actually need to turn the music off, which is weird. I've been driving in silence a lot lately. It just like helps me to focus and helps me to just be able to like kind of like under my breath if I need to. I'll just be like, okay, you got this. Like you can do this. Which sounds super silly, but it helps me. And that's really the only thing so far that I've found that helps. Well, that, and also when I have a place that I go to quite frequently, so like the grocery store, for example, I make sure that I take like the same route every single time. So then I get familiar with it, and then after a while it's like no stress, you know? It doesn't make me anxious or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, as far as road anxiety goes, I'm still learning because this is like new to me, and so I'm still trying to find like what makes me feel better. But so far, like if I can, like having routes or just like go to roads, even if I'm going to like a new place, knowing what roads I like to drive on. So like for example, tomorrow I have to go to a new location and it's like 25 minutes away, and I'm just going to take this road that I always take to go to other places. And so then I already know like what the road is like, what I'm getting into, and all that fun stuff. Anyway, so I just wanted to share with you guys the anxiety that I face traveling. I just don't ever want my anxiety to stop me from doing the things that I love. I got my first anxiety attack when I was a freshman in high school. It was during gym class. And I didn't know what it was, but like I was struggling to catch my breath and like just freaking out. It was so hard to breathe. And I remember going and telling my mom about it, and she was like, you better be careful, like that's anxiety. If it gets worse, like it'll stop you from being able to do things in the future. And that always sticks in my head. I don't ever want this to stop me from being able to do the things that I love. And again, I know that that's hard saying that because everybody's level of anxiety is different, and how we handle it is just really personal. You know, not all of us handle it the same way, and that's okay. But I encourage you, if you do have anxiety and there's things that you want to do but you feel kind of held back by your anxiety, maybe experiment with different methods of handling it. How can you keep yourself calm, you know, as much as possible? Even when you're not having anxiety, just like your day-to-day life, what can you do? What can you add to your daily life to help you to just try to stay calm? So like for me, I love doing yoga every day because that just helps me to start my day on the right foot. It helps me to just, any tension that I'm feeling, I just like let it go right in the beginning of the day, and it helps so much. It's not like a bulletproof plan, but it helps. I just encourage you to find ways to help your anxiety even when you're not having an anxiety attack. Yeah, just try to do everything you can to feel calm throughout your day, to feel peaceful, and to just feel grounded. Yeah, so far yoga is like the best thing for me. Occasionally writing in my journal is something that helps a lot too, but I find that I release things better like on like a physical level rather than like writing things down and stuff like that. So like dancing also helps me to relieve some like stress and anxiety as well. Yeah, just brainstorm some things. I can also totally do a video where I actually break down specifically things that I purposely implement into my daily routine to help my anxiety to stay at a pretty decent level. So yeah, just let me know if you guys would be interested in that, and I will totally talk about that. I'm an open book. I will talk about anything that you guys want to know. And I think Angel, you know, is pretty much the same way. We just want to be able to have this platform and also our joint Instagram account to just really share with you guys our life, you know, good and bad. Again, if you guys want to follow us on our journey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we post every single Wednesday and Saturday. And yeah, you just never know what you're getting with this channel. It's kind of like a lifestyle channel, I guess. You know, sometimes we'll be talking about food, sometimes we're going on a really dope hike. You never really know. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video, and I'll see you guys later.